I've just finalised a book called What is a Refugee, which is concerned to examine some of the roots of the current global sense of crisis surrounding refugee movements, with over 1 million people having sought asylum in Europe last year, arriving by boat. Nonetheless, I think if one looks at the refugee problem from a historical context, several things stand out. One is that the main locus of a global refugee crisis is not in Europe, but is in Asia and Africa, where the bulk of the world's refugees continue to be located. And in fact, the 1 million people who arrived in Europe in 2015 are only a tiny fraction of the 506 million population of Europe as a whole, and amount to no more than 5 days' annual growth in the population of the world. It's also the case that people who have used the services of people smugglers to seek their way to Europe are responding to the ways in which particularly Western states have used their bureaucratic capabilities systematically to close off any other routes of access. So if, for example, people come from countries which are seen as likely to produce refugees, they have virtually no chance of getting a visa to be admitted to a Western country, and that makes it almost inevitable that they'll be driven into the arms of people smugglers if the circumstances are so dire that they have to escape. And what this displays is in fact the way in which the refugee problem is actually a creature of the system of Westphalian states. That the Westphalian state model is morally justifiable to the extent that states provide protections for those individuals who are seen to be their citizens. And if states fail to do that, then those states that benefit from the Westphalian system arguably have an obligation to assist those who've been failed by that very system. And yet this is something which those states are exceedingly reluctant to do. So it's not surprising under those circumstances that people smuggling flourishes. In 2015, the UN estimated that 1,150,000 people needed resettlement. In 2014, 73,000 people were offered resettlement. It's not surprising that the market fills the gap.